Hi guys, my name's Beyonce. Welcome to my first YouTube video. Today I wanted to film my everyday makeup routine. I've had a few people in my life ask about which products I use specifically, so I just wanted to make this video and be kind of thorough about my makeup routine and the products that I use. Before we get into the things that I use for makeup, I wanted to talk about my morning skincare routine first. The products that you put under your makeup are just as important as the makeup products that you use. So I wanted to walk through those first. In the morning, I never use a cleanser on my face. I just rinse my face with water, and then once I pat my skin dry, I go in with the moly ceramide mochi toner. This is a super huge bottle. I think at Ulta it's about $18, which is pretty affordable for a product this size. It's super bouncy and light on the skin, and it leaves my skin really hydrated. It doesn't leave a greasy film or anything, so that's why I really like it. Next is serums. I use both of these from Good Molecules. This one is the hyaluronic acid serum, and this one is the niacinamide. I love these serums under my makeup. They sink right into my skin, and they don't cause any pilling under my makeup. And then I lock all of that in with just the Cerave Daily Moisturizing Lotion. This one's for normal to dry skin. I really like this product. Again, it doesn't pill under my makeup at all, so I've been using this for years and years now. And then sunscreen is super important. For a long time, I struggled to find a sunscreen that didn't break me out and a sunscreen that looked good under makeup. And then I finally found this one. It's by Biore. It's the UV Aqua Rich Watery Essence SPF. And it's super, super good. Very lightweight, very moisturizing as well. Those are all the products I use under my makeup. Now we can finally get started with the products that I actually use to achieve this look. I have to clip my hair back before I do any of my makeup because I cannot stand the feeling of having to move my hair out of my face so that it doesn't get in my foundation or anything. I have it all clipped back. I like to moisturize my lips first before I do anything as well. This is the Ole Henriksen Pout Preserve Peptide Lip Treatment, and this is the orange one. I'm not sure exactly which scent this is in. I have been using this primer ever since I was literally in middle school. It's the Maybelline Baby Skin Instant Pore Eraser Primer. I cannot stop using this. I know it's so middle school coded, but I just really, really like this primer for blurring out my T-zone. I think it's really, really good. So I just rub that between my fingers and apply it right where I have the most pores. Put it all over my chin as well, and kind of between my eyebrows. So after I rub in all of my primer, I use the e.l.f. Camo Concealer. I have the shade Light Beige in the one with the white cap and the one with a black cap. Even though they're both shade Light Beige, they are a little bit different. This one's definitely darker in comparison to the one with the black cap, but I like to mix them together and spot conceal all of the places that I have hyperpigmentation. So that's pretty much all around my chin and kind of my nose area. This is where I tend to break out the most and where my acne scars kind of linger. So I like to spot conceal those places. And again, I'm just kind of layering the products here. This is what it looks like after I put the concealer on to spot conceal. And I'm just going to let this dry for a few minutes so that it gives me the most amount of coverage. Alright, now that the concealer has been sitting for a little bit, I am going to use my Sephora 78 flat top little kabuki brush to blend all of that out. I pretty much only use makeup brushes now to do my makeup. I used to use the Paw sponge. It's about $6 off of Amazon. I used to use that for all of my like liquid cream products, but Within the past like year or so, I have found some really good makeup brushes that I love using. So that's all I use from now on. And again, I just like to buff that all around my nose. Now that that's all blended, I am going to do my foundation. I use the Wet n Wild Dewy Foundation in the shade Golden Beige. And it comes with a little paddle applicator like this, so I just put some on the back of my hand. And then I like to mix that with the Say Glowy Super Gel. I just do one pump of that. And then I just mix it together on the back of my hand and apply it all over my face. So once that's all mixed in, I kind of just swipe it on my face. I like to swipe as much as I can on my cheeks so that it's easier for me to blend. I also do my forehead. To blend out my foundation, I will be using the BK Beauty 101 brush, and it's a great foundation brush. It's kind of got a more slanted shape like that, so it just really fits into the crevices really nicely to blend out all of that foundation. And I'm just doing light dabbing motions. I don't swipe at all because that would take away all of the coverage, so I'm just lightly tapping that foundation in. I try not to do as much foundation under my eyes because we'll eventually cover up those spots with concealer. Moving on to the other cheek, again just light tapping motions to keep that coverage. Just kind of going back and forth, making sure everything is nice and blended. And that's all I do for my foundation. Next, continuing on with cream products, I like to use the LYS bronzer. This is in the shade Harmony. My packaging is really gross, don't mind that. I've been using it for quite a few months now. But again, I just like to move all of my hair out of the way, and I like to go really high with my cream bronzer, pretty much at the top of my cheekbones. I don't really apply any on my forehead because once I start blending it out, I just kind of use the excess product that I have to bronze my forehead. The brush that I'll be using is the Real Techniques one. It's also a little slanted brush. And I'm just going to start blending that out. The reason I put it so high on my cheekbones is because once you start blending, the product, as you can see, starts moving its way down. So you don't want to put it down low already. Start blending and then it moves down your face. That's going to make everything look a lot muddier, which is what we're trying to avoid. So again, the excess, I'm kind of just buffing that up along my forehead. I know it looks kind of crazy and orange right now, but I promise everything will come together very nicely. Now that my cream bronzer is all blended out, we're going to move on to cream blush. For cream blush, I use the Cotton Candy blush by Huda Beauty. And then I also mix in the liquid camo blush by e.l.f. in the shade Dusty Rose. I like to go in with the Huda Beauty one first. The applicator is so tiny and little. I didn't know if I would like that at first, but the product has definitely been growing on me. I also put my blush placement pretty high right on top of my cheekbones. And again, mixing in that e.l.f. Dusty Rose shade. To blend out my cream blush, I use the BK Beauty 109. I love brushes by BK Beauty so much. The Bristles are super soft and they don't shed. And they blend so nicely without leaving any streaks. At this point, my makeup is looking a little bit crazy, but with makeup, I always say you have to trust the process and do a lot of blending. Eventually, in the end, it all turns out really pretty and looking nice. Next, I'm doing concealer. I'm going in with my Hourglass concealer. This is in the shade Oat. And I like to put it on my chin, my nose, and just a little bit under my eyes. I like to mix in this Kosas concealer as well. This one is in the shade 2.3N. I really just put that kind of on the inner corners for my concealer. And then I'm using this Hollywood Complexion Charlotte Tilbury double-ended little flat top kabuki brush to blend out my concealer. And then blending out everything on my nose. And then for my under eyes, so I don't want it to spread too much, so I kind of angle my brush and do a lot of the blending on the side of my nose. And then bringing it up over my eyes as well to kind of help with any discoloration that I have. And then blending it down into the blush as well. So now that my concealer is all blended in, I've kind of lost some blush definition on the top of my cheeks. So sometimes I'll go back in with the BK 109 brush that I used for my liquid blush. And I just go back in and touch up. And I know that my blush is looking pretty heavy right here on the apples of my cheeks. So I take that Sephora brush that I used earlier for my spot concealing. And I just like to blend that all out. Now we're ready to move on to our powder products. So to set my face, I will be using the Maybelline Fit Me loose powder in the shade 10. This is one of my favorite powders ever. It's super, super good, and it's from the drugstore, so that's why I love using it. And I'll just be using this powder puff that I got from Marshall's. I like to hold my powder puff at an angle to squeeze the bottom of it so that it's nice and triangle shaped like that. Dip in my powder, and then I always use the back of my hand to get the excess powder off. And then I set my T-zone and all around my nose with my powder. And then when it comes to setting under my eyes, again holding the triangle puff kind of folded in half, I go right up along the side of my nose bridge and then blend it out, so I'm concentrating most of the powder on the inner corner of my eye. And then I'm slowly diffusing out. Same thing with my other eye. I'm going to make sure the powder puff is right up along the side of my nose. And slowly work my way out. And that is everywhere I put the Maybelline loose powder. Now that my cream products are all set with powder, I will be moving on to my powder bronzer and my powder blush. My favorite bronzer will always be the Benefit Hoola bronzer. I have gone through so many of these. I've been using these literally since middle school. I absolutely love this bronzer, as you can tell. And then for my bronzer brush, I'll be going with the Real Techniques 003 brush. It's this thick kind of fanned out powder brush. I love it so much. It's perfect for diffusing the bronzer. And I honestly don't put a lot of bronzer on my forehead because of that LYS cream bronzer. A lot of it's already concentrated up there, so I don't feel the need to put a lot of the Hoola bronzer up there. And then I'm going to put a little bit of bronzer on my nose. For that, I use the Deluxe Crease Brush by Real Techniques as well. I like to just go on the bottom And I just circle it around like that. And then I blend up on the sides of my nose as well. I'm not much of an eyeshadow person, so I usually just do bronzer in my crease as well. I will either use the Hoola bronzer, but lately I've been really liking this Physicians Formula Butter Coffee bronzer in my crease. It has some shimmer in it, and it's a little bit dark as well, so that's why I don't use it on my cheeks. The brush that I'll be going in with is a BH Cosmetics brush in the number 6. It's a light, fluffy crease brush. This was in the Nazanin Kavari brush collection that I got a few years ago before BK Beauty was discontinued, sadly. And I just use that to buff out the shade all over my crease. It just gives me a nice wash of color, and it's very effortless. Now that my powder bronzer is all done, I'll be moving on to powder blush. My favorite powder blushes would be the Kylie Cosmetics one in the shade Baddie on the Block. It's this really nice light pink color. And then I like to mix that in with the Hourglass blush in the shade Sublime Flush. Also, again, this kind of light pink corally color. It's got a little bit of that Hourglass shimmer in there. It doesn't leave your cheeks like glowy in the sense that you just put highlighter on, but it gives them a nice, healthy, lit from within glow. And this brush is also a part of the Nazanin Kavari brush set. I also like to put blush on my nose. Not everybody does, but I like to just put it there for a little bit of color. I think I'm a little bit blush blind, but I feel like it gives you such a nice healthy glow to your skin, so I love putting blush on. For highlighter, I'll be going in with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Amrezy highlighter. I know that this is a super OG highlighter, so I just go in with this little brush from Real Techniques as well, and I like to highlight my nose. I highlight my nose every single day. It doesn't matter if I'm doing glam or natural makeup like this, I have to highlight my nose. I feel like that's kind of just a part of me at this point. And normally on a day-to-day basis, I don't put highlighter on my cheeks because the blush gives you that nice healthy glow already. So I'm not going to be putting any highlighter on my cheeks. I'm going to do my eyebrows next after. And for that, I'll be using the e.l.f. Ultra Precise Brow Pencil in the shade Neutral Brown. I'm going to be doing my brows off camera because it just takes me a long time to do them, even when I'm not filming, so I will be right back. And now that my brows are all done and filled in, I go in with the Maybelline Super Lac Brow Gel. I usually go in between this one and the Rare Beauty Brow Gel. I like both of them. This one is just definitely a bit more affordable. Before I go in and curl my eyelashes and put mascara on, I like to do my setting spray because I don't want to spray my setting spray all over my face after my mascara and then it's running down and ruining my base. So recently I've been loving the One Size Powder Melt Glass setting spray and the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Liquid Blurring Balm. Oh my gosh. So I like to shake this one up and spray it kind of more focused on my cheeks where the majority of my powder products are. I like to give that one time to dry, and then I will go in with the Danessa Myricks. And this little fan here is just from Dollar Tree. I love using these for my setting spray. And then the Danessa Myricks one I use all over my face. Once my setting spray is all done, then I like to go in with my mascara. I just use this super cheap eyelash curler from Dollar Tree, and then I also use a cheap mascara. This one is the e.l.f. Lash and Roll. I have very straight downward facing Asian eyelashes that are very thin as well, so the mascara that I use doesn't really matter to me. I do it mainly so that they blend in once I put my false eyelashes on. Now that my mascara is on, I will go in with eyeliner. The NYX Professional Epic Ink liner is my favorite eyeliner of all time. This one is in the shade Milk Chocolate, and then I also have the normal black one. Today I think I'll just go into the Milk Chocolate shade because it's a bit softer. So I'm going to go do my wing, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, so I finished putting on my eyeliner using that NYX Epic Ink liner, and then I put on these pretty natural falsies. They're in the style Matte Linen by Kiss. And then to finish off my makeup look, I'm just going to do a really simple lip combo. I'm going to use the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencils in the shade Anywhere Caffeine and Wherever Walnut. I think I'm going to go with Anywhere Caffeine on the outer edge of my lips first because that's darker. So that's the shade Anywhere Caffeine. And then now with Wherever Walnut, I'm gonna kind of blend it in. It's a bit more of a pinky shade. I don't want to go too dark again because this makeup look is pretty natural. Well, natural for me anyways, and I don't want to go too heavy with the lip combo. And then for gloss, I'm using the Judy Doll lip oil. It's super nice and moisturizing, and I really like it. Alright guys, that is my finished makeup tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Please subscribe and stay for more videos. Thanks. Bye guys.